Hi guys, I'm here with the full card review of the Knights of the Frozen Throne, and just keep in mind that this is all for arena ratings. So yeah, I don't really rate things in terms of constructed, because yeah, all I play is arena. So let's begin. Okay, the first card that we're looking at is Deathstalker Rexar. It's the Hunter Death Knight card, and I think it's pretty solid. But the hero power is like the 2 mana build a beast, I believe, and it's basically discover two beasts, and you like add their mana cost, their stats, their like you just like mash the two cards together. So it's pretty good. It's definitely a value oriented like kind of late game card, and it is like every turn, so it gets pretty insane. And I think this is quite good because it's only 6 mana, and the battle cry really helps you recover on Hunter. So yeah, I would say this is definitely playable. I don't think it's going to be that amazing, just because you actually do lose your real hero power, right? Like you lose doing 2 damage to their face, which is generally like the win condition of Hunter, but it should get you there on value since you have like the build a beast every turn. So I would say it's good. I don't think it's great or amazing. I would say just a solid 3. Yeah, I can't be bad for sure. All right, next card, Shallow Gravedigger. 3 mana 3/1. I think this is gonna be really good, and I think a lot of people don't like it because of the 1 HP. But I feel as though the Death Rattle, like the adding a random Death Rattle minion to your hand, will be just really really powerful. And obviously, mage and rogue, druid, etc., can kind of deal with this body quite easily, but forcing forcing your opponent to hero power on turn 3 is actually not that bad. It's obviously a little bit more rough against rogue, but you do kind of like recycle it. So I think in arena this will be great. I'm gonna put this at 2. 2 mana, 2/2 legendary. This is pretty trash, right? Like it has a battle cry. If your deck has no 2 cost cards, give all your minions in your deck +1/+1. Like this is just trash, because you kind of need twos in arena, and it's a 2 mana 2/2, which doesn't really do shit. So, um, maybe if you got it first pick, you could like build your draft around if you really wanted to, but feels really troll, and I would say it is bad. So I would say below average. It can't be terrible because I mean 2 mana 2/2s aren't unplayable. Unplayable is more for like the Ancient Watcher, Silithid Swarmer when you're like a priest, those kinds of cards. So yeah, we'll put it at 5. Chillblade Champion, Charge and Lifesteal. Okay, I think this is really really strong, and having played other card games at this point, in like Elder Scrolls and whatnot, I really think like the lifesteal mechanic is quite powerful. Especially, it's going to heal you right away, and it has that initiative as well. So I actually think this is going to be a good card. I'm kind of taking a gamble on this because the stats are like not amazing. But if you think about it, like Wolf Rider, I think Wolf Rider is a pretty reasonable card, and it's a 3/1. Whereas like Chill by Champion is something you can play on the board right away. Uh, you know, it's probably not going to trade up, but there's a decent amount of like one attack creatures, especially in this set as well. So I think it's going to be quite good. I'm going to put it at 3. Spirit Lash. It's a priest card, 2 mana spell. This is insane. It has lifesteal as well, so it will heal. And it's Arcane Explosion, but better on a priest. And priest has always kind of struggled with dealing 1 damage, and this does that. You know, and it heals you. So this is great. I wouldn't say it's amazing, just because like healing is a nice little upside, and the fact that it's on priest makes it even better because this kind of like fills in the gap of what they're weak to. But I wouldn't say it's amazing. I would say it's a solid 2. Oh, shoot. Yeah, it is all to all minions. I'm sorry. It's a little bit. It's to all minions. Ah, crap. All right, 2.5. I think it's a 2.5. It does deal damage to your own minions. You're a priest, so you can end up healing your own stuff. It will heal you for a little bit more, which is kind of cute. But yeah, probably a 2.5. My bad. I didn't realize that it was all minions. Ticking A bomb. Oh my gosh. Okay, so when I saw this card, everyone that I've talked to thinks it's pretty trash. I feel like it will be playable in arena, and I know that like you're paying 4 mana for a 5/6, which isn't like insane. It's like Pit Lord, um, except the 5 damage is going to your minions, not your face. But I think it's one of those cards that like still does need to be dealt with, and I don't think it will be that bad. I will put it at 4, average. I don't think it's below average, and I feel like you can't be too afraid to draft this. Just the same way as you can't be too afraid to draft Bittertide Hydra. As you guys know, if you watch my stream or my YouTube videos, I love Bittertide Hydra. I love Fall Reaver. I love cards like that because your opponent kind of plays really, really wonkily once you play one of these cards. So you can kind of take advantage of the fact that they kind of want to get greedy with it, I guess. So yeah, 4. Plague Scientist. This is a rogue card. 3 mana, 2/3. Give a friendly minion poisonous. This is insane. This is going to be top tier. Obviously, Rogue doesn't have too many like token type minions, but even so, like just having poison is going to be pretty nuts. Like even playing on like a 3/5 and trading up even once is going to be pretty nuts. It's a combo card, so it's not like a curve 3, which is fine. But yeah, I think this is probably a 1.5. I don't think it's. I think like ones are for like Primordial Drake type of cards, right? Primordial Drake is a 1. It just like wins you the game. Like Steed, Spiker Steed, that's a 1. I would say this is like a 1.5. It's just a little bit off of like perfect because it's not gonna just like win you the game right there. Icebreaker. So this is a shaman weapon. Destroy any frozen minion damaged by this. So I did look at the full set just briefly, and I don't think there's enough like freeze mechanics in the game to make this really viable. A 3 mana 1/3 weapon is pretty. It's overpaying by quite a bit, and I just don't think it will be great in arena. So I'm gonna put it at 5. I don't think it's unplayable because like it's playable. It'll do 3 damage. Yeah, it's just not great. I would say 5. Blood Razor. This is a warrior card, common. This will be very, very powerful in arena. You can kind of compare it to Deathbite. Obviously, Deathbite's really, really strong, and probably stronger than this because the 4 attack on turn 4 deals with most 4 drops, and then the 4 damage plus the death rattle, deal 1 damage, deals 5 damage, which deals with most 5 drops, which makes it really nutty. This one doesn't do quite that, but I think it will still be really, really powerful. So even though it might not be like the strongest curve 4, I think it definitely will fit in a lot of decks and, kind of fills that need to kind of deal 1 damage as a warrior. So I think this is a great card. I will put it at a 2. Prince Taldaram. Same thing with the other thing. This is actually a little bit better than the other one because it's a 3 mana 3/3, and it can't be bad, can't be terrible because it's a 3 mana 3/3. But yeah, I would say it's below average. I think 5 is a fair rating for it. I guess like 4.5. Average is like, is average even 3/3 anymore? I don't think so. I think average is like a vanilla 3/3 would be like a 4.5, right? I guess it would actually just be a 5. Yeah, it's like a 4.5 to 5. Like, it's just a 3 mana 3/3. It's like all you can look at it. You take this over like Nat Pagel, like Nat Pagel, Dark Fisher, etc. Okay, Nerubian Unraveler. This is a really cool card. Spells cost 2 more, so that includes your own spells as well. I think this is going to be quite strong. Um, it's definitely going to be a little bit better on classes where you can't, where you're more like minion dependent, like Druid. But I think you can play this on any class and it will be really, really solid. I think it will be a good card. And I don't think it's going to be great or amazing because it's something that, like, if you're not ahead on the board, it's, you're overpaying a mana for the effect. And if it can just get eaten right away, it's not going to be great. But it definitely like solidifies like, oh, I'm ahead, and like now if this mage has flame strike, I lose. You can kind of use this to like block that. So I would say it's good. I'm gonna put it as 3 for arena. Mounted Fire Armor. It's a 3 mana 4/3. If it's your opponent's turn, gain 6 armor. So that's the death rattle. So can't be bad. So it's at least average. And it has an upside. It's a warrior card, like 3 mana 4/3. That's like good stats already. And yeah, the upside is not amazing, just because like you don't really care too much about armor. So I'll just put it at 3. like 3.5. Nah, I don't think so. I think it's just 3. This is just a fine card, right? Like Professor Putricide. So this is a hunter legendary. After you play a secret, put a random hunter secret into the battlefield. So once again, just looking at pure stats, because that's like a lot of what Arena is. The stats are fine, and the stats are good. I would say you kind of generally want 5/4s, especially in the meta where it's like you have a lot of 3/5s being played, 2/5s even. And the effect is just like bonus, right? So like secrets aren't that amazing. I know that the one that we're gonna look at coming up is quite good. So if you can get it off, like yay. But it's not like gonna win you the game probably. So I would put it at 3. It's just good. Like the stats are fine, and then the upside maybe like 2.5 if you really want to, if you have the secrets. But it's just not like whoa when you get the effect off. Ghastly Conjure. It's a mage 2/6. Add a mirror image to spell to your hand. Um, I think this is a fine card. Like the stats are like hose and healers, and the battle cry isn't that crazy or anything. But it's not like terrible. I think mirror image has always been a card that I used to draft quite highly. I think it kind of like went down in value with the addition of more and more like AoEs, like neutral AoEs like Primordial Drake and Corrupted Seer. So I think Mirror Image as a spell just got a lot worse. And also, a lot of arena decks are either crazy fast or they are like super value decks because of so much discover and like, you know, just card creation in general. And so I don't think it's that good. I would say that this is an average card. I don't think it's even a good card. I will put it at 4. I don't think I would draft this very highly. Blood Queen Lanathel. It's a 1/6 Warlock Legendary. Lifesteal. Has 1 attack for each card you've discarded this game. This is 6. This is probably a 6. Like, I don't think you want this. It's not unplayable. It's pretty unplayable. It's like 5.8. It's just, no. You're just not gonna want to play this in arena. Just nah. Sin Dragosa. Okay, this is nuts. This is actually nutty. So the Frozen Champions are 1 mana 0/1 spells. Oh, sorry, not spells. It summons 2/0/1. They're like 1-drop minions, and their death rattle is add a random legendary to your hand. It's this, which is pretty nuts. Yeah, so it's just an 8/8 with an upside. And it's a dragon, which is just like nice text and everything. And yeah, it's fucking nuts. So this is a, I would say it's very close to amazing. I would still put it at 1.5. And the only reason it's a 1.5 and not a 1 is because once again, I think the ones are for like, it's like a swing and so unrecoverable for them. When you look at value, for example, like Ysera. Ysera is a good card, right? Ysera is a great card, but it doesn't like instantly win you the game. Even if they can't deal with it instantaneously, it probably is going to win you the game over time for value, but it doesn't like change the board state right away. And same with this card. I think the ones are for like instant, you can play in any situation, it will always be amazing. So I will put this at 1.5 because, yeah, the value is absurd, but I still think I would take like Primordial Drake over Syndragosa. That's how insane Primordial Drake is in my eyes for Arena. Anyway, Leeching Poison. So this is a rogue card. Give your weapon lifesteal. So obviously the dream is putting this on like what, Assassin's Blade, right? And that's what, 12 healing, woo, or like Deadly and even more healing. But that's a combo card, and it's not that great for Arena since like, yes, health is important, but like you don't really draft healing very highly because if you don't have the board, if you don't have cards that control the board, then you're gonna lose anyway. So I would say this is like a 5.5. Like it's just not something that you want. Cold Wraith, 3 mana 3/4, common for mage. Battle cry. If an enemy is frozen, draw a card. So the stats are already good. I would say the stats are good. I would say 4/3 is like almost the average now, and I'd say 3/4 is quite good. Especially with the number of like 2/3s and 2/4s in the game. Like the 3/4 stat line is really strong, and even 3/3s, right? Like there's so many 3/3s. So yeah, it's good and it has an upside. So I'll put this at 2.5. I think this is a very strong mage common, and we'll see a lot of play with it. Bring it on. Gain 10 armor, reduce the cost of minions in your hand by your opponent's hand by 2. Terrible. Like, this, what? 6. Um, no, you don't want this. I mean, like, once again, healing is cute, but you don't want to heal in arena because it doesn't help you on the board whatsoever. And for arena, that is just not what we want, right? Voodoo Hexer taunt. Freeze any minion damaged by this minion. It's a shaman taunt. Uh, Kodo food is what I think of right away. But yeah, it's fine. I don't think it's like that incredible. The freeze thing is kind of cute. We can kind of compare the stats to like Ali Armorsmith, which is still like not that great in arena. I just don't think it's gonna be that good. And it's just like yeah, it can freeze their face, but I just don't think yeah, it's slightly better than Ali or Armorsmith, but I don't think it's gonna be that amazing. I'm gonna put this at 3.5. I really just don't see this being like super absurd. And freeze is annoying, but I still don't see it being super absurd. I'm gonna put it at 3.5. I don't think it's a good card. I think it's okay. Bear Shark. This is insane. I would say this is an easy 2. My man, I'm really holding up for the ones, huh? But yeah, Bear Shark I would say is a 2 because it's a hunter card, it's a beast, and yeah, if they play it and you don't have an answer, like we all know how good Fairy Dragon is, right? And this is just a 3 mana Fairy Dragon. It's just really great. So I'll put it at 2. Like it doesn't win. It might win you the game if you just like coin it out on 2. They can't deal with it. You just yeah kill them. But yeah, the stats are good. The effect is great. So yeah, 2. Hadronox. Summon your top minions that died this game. So it's a Druid Legendary 3/7 Beast. That makes it really slow. It doesn't have taunt itself. I think it's playable, but it will be very, very hard. You have to really build your draft around it. And it's really, really slow. So I would put this. I really want to put it at 4 because I feel like I could. I feel like I want to build a deck around this, but it is probably a 5. So we'll put it at 5. I don't think it's unplayable, but I think it's below average for sure. Just because the stats are way too slow, you can't even hero power with it, right? Fate Spinner. So this is a really cool card. I looked at this, when it was first released. Choose a death rattle secretly. Deal 3 damage to all minions or give them +2/+2. So the +2/+2 is all minions too, and I think it will be a little interesting to see how it plays because like your opponent, you could kind of trick your opponent based off of which one you choose. I think it's a really clever card. The stats make it a little bit awkward. It's kind of like a trickier A-bomb. I do like the design of it a lot. I would put this at good. I think it's a good card. It's a 3 because it's not gonna really blow out a game. Because your opponent gets to generally decide what to do with it on their turn when you play it. But yeah, it does have that kind of like trickiness to it. I'm really curious to see if I rated this correctly. I'm gonna put this just at 3, just because I don't think the stats are good enough. And like if it can't really be ignored, right? It might be able to be ignored. I'm not sure. I'm really interested to see how this plays. I'll put this at 3. Abominable Bowman. Bowman? 7 mana 6/7 Hunter Epic. Death Rattle summon a random friendly beast that died this game. I mean, worst case is what, 1/1? And even that's fine, right? 7 mana 6/7 with a 1/1, and that's worst case is like pretty good. And if it's not someone's even like a 3/3, it'll be pretty nuts. So yeah, I think this is 1.5. I think it's gonna be really good. The stats are really good. It's just you're paying 1 more for this death rattle on top of the Boulderfist Ogre, and yeah, it's a nice little finisher for hunters. Bolvar Farlower, Divine Shield. After a friendly minion loses a Divine Shield, gain 2 attack. So it counts for its own Divine Shield as well, right? So it's really like a 3/7. And originally when I looked at this card, I thought it was really trash. But then the more I thought about it, the more I see it, I think the better it gets. And I think having like a 3/7, because it only like obviously it's a 1/7, but with Divine Shield. But it's really a 3/7 that like has already dealt 1 damage, right? So it's kind of a slower card, and I think that's fine because paladins tend to have a lot of buff cards, and so like Divine Shield is already insane, and it kind of snowballs past that as well. So I would say, yeah, it plays right into like Steed turn, which is gonna be stupid as fuck, but excuse my language. But yeah, I would say that this is a Good card. I'm gonna put this at good because I think you would pay 5 mana for a 3/7, and it has that stickiness to it as well as an upside. So yeah, 3. Life's Sorrow. So this is a paladin card, paladin weapon. You can tell by the border of the yeah, it's yellow. After a friendly minion loses divine shield, gain 1 attack. This is a lot worse than the other one because you don't always have divine shields to proc with it. So in arena, this is bad. I would say it is 5.5. It's almost unplayable. I mean, it like yeah, 5.5. It's just yeah. Corpse Taker. Gain taunt if your deck has a taunt minion repeat for Divine Shield, Lifesteal, and Wind Fury. Yeah, it's good. This is like we can instantly compare this to Silver Moon Guardian, right? And yeah, I mean, if you get Silver Moon Guardian and the taunt, it'll be great. If it has the Wind Fury as well, that'd be insane. It's hard to get Wind Fury cards, so it's very unlikely that you hit like everything. But even just Divine Shield plus taunt, or like Divine Shield plus Lifesteal or whatever, it will be great. So I'm gonna put this at a 2 because I feel like you really can um, draft for it, and in arena, like all of these like keywords are very plausible. So a 2 for me. Bone Mare. This is probably the best card in the set. This will just sweep games. It's a 7 mana 9/9 essentially. It's a 7 mana 5/5 uh, that puts kings on a target. It's crazy good. This is a 1. Like putting this on his yeah. This is like I think this will be like the most powerful card of the set for arena, and the biggest game changer one. Just the 7 mana 5/5 body. The 5/5 body is already like great, right? And then the 4/4 and taunt kind of just like seals the deal, and it does something that changes the board state right away, puts up a threat that like your opponent has to deal with. It's just gonna be really absurd, and it's kind of like why Primordial Drake is like my hail like the number one card for me in Ungoro is because it has the 4 body that is a taunt. Like not only are you blowing out all their like crappy little creatures, but you're putting this giant creature up in front of it, and this is like doing a similar thing. Obviously, it doesn't it doesn't have the AoE component, but um, it certainly allows you to trade up. Yeah, so this is the one. This is the one that I am calling will be the best one. I'm sure other people are. I haven't really looked at other people's reviews, but that's the one. Animated Berserker. 1 mana, 1/3. After you play a minion, deal 1 damage to it. Huh? Terrible. Alright. 5.5. Sanguine Reveler. Destroy friendly minion, gain +2/+2. I think this is pretty bad. Like, you can play this on turn 1. Yay. You can proc your death rattles. I think it's a little bit too cute for arena, right? Like, if you can do this with, like, Devil Sword Egg, maybe. But, like, it's just not really gonna work out. There's not really enough death rattles like Devil Sword Egg to make this work. And even doing this on an imp, right? Like when you think about it, like you're losing 1 power and you're getting it's just not good. It's just not good. This is just bad. I would say it's a 5. 5 is fine because 1 mana 1/1 is just 5. Yay! Snow Flipper Penguin. What up? Finally a penguin card. I mean, you're cute, but you suck. I mean, it's the same as like any other of our like 0 mana 1/1s, like Tiny Fin and like very cute. It's playable, not really. Especially in like as we move forward with all the sets coming out, Discover, you just can't really draft cards like this because it just doesn't do anything. Like Arena seems to get greedier and greedier, and it feels like whoever's greedier wins, while still like not completely losing the board early. And this doesn't really fight for the board that well early, and it doesn't really get you anywhere. So 5.5. Murabi. Whenever another minion is frozen, add a copy of it to your hand. Like obviously this goes with the taunt, right? Like the but like one, it's a legendary, and you need to draft the other card with it, and it's just bad. Like it's a 6 mana forward. This is bad. It's gonna be pretty bad. 5.5. You just can't do this in arena. It'll be so rare that you actually get value for it. And it's not like the effect isn't even like good enough to like justify it. Whenever another minion is frozen, add a copy of it to your hand. Like that's not even worth it. If it's like whenever another minion is frozen, like summon a copy of it, then you could be like, okay, we'll just like all in on this card. But this is just not gonna be worth. Spreading Plague. So this is a druid card, and it summons 2 mana 1/5 taunts. If your opponent has 3 creatures, you have like what 315 worth of stats. It's pretty nutty for like flooding. The 1/5s are a little bit weak, but I think as a druid you can kind of like take advantage of that and like it'll help you catch back up on the board. So I think this is actually going to be pretty playable. I would actually say this is a good card. I'd say this is a 3 because it sounds really weak, and the 1/5 sound weak. I really like that it has 5 and not 4 because I feel like 1/4s are so crap. But like we haven't really seen what 1/5s can do, and I think it will take. I think it will be more annoying than people think. Just because if you think about like how good Sunwalker is, for example, obviously it has 4 attack, but like one of the reasons why Sunwalker is annoying is because it has the Divine Shield as well as the 5 HP. I feel like that 5 HP threshold, like the difference between 4 and 5 in Hearthstone is pretty huge. So, yeah, I think it's yeah. If your opponent has more minions, right? So if they have 3 minions and you have no board, it will summon 3. Am I wrong? I think I'm right. Summon a 1/5. Okay, he has 3 minions, right? My opponent. Okay, I summon it with a taunt, so I have 1 minion. If your opponent has more minions, cast it again. Okay, so he has more than me, so I summon it again. Okay, he still has more minions than me, so I summon it again. So I have 3. What are you talking about? Anyway, Cryo Status. So this is a Shaman card. And originally, when I first saw this card, I thought it was bad for Arena. And then I thought about it more and more, and since it's a Shaman card, um, I think it will be good. And the reason why I think it'll be good is one, you can cast it on taunts, right? And two, you can cast it on your totems. And I think casting this on your totems will be pretty insane. Like, honestly, it's so insane to the point where, like, coin totem into cryo status seems like a good play. When you think about it, you can coin totem on turn 2, and then you can, yeah, let's say we get a heal stream totem. You'll have a 3/5 heal stream totem, and yeah, it'll be frozen, but turn 2 3/5 totem is pretty good. Defile. Defile. So it's a warlock card. Deal 1 damage to all minions if any die casts again. So this is kind of cute. I really like this. When you flood, you can kind of like make trades to cascade it, so it just keeps casting and keeps AoEing, right? Like especially when you have a board of like really weak creatures, like 1/1s and 2/1s and whatever. You can kind of run them in, so they end up with like 1, 2, 3, and 4 health. That's like the dream. Obviously, it's hard to set up to be that good, but it really can't be bad, right? Like it literally can't be bad. If you think about it, deal 1 damage to all minions is kind of like Arcane Explosion, or like it deals with your minions too. So you can even like take that into account. Yeah, it's just like really really crazy AOE. So I feel like this is just going to be pretty nuts. I think this is a like close to amazing card. I think it's a 1.5. I think it's. I don't think it's a 2 damage max thing. I am pretty sure this is like it will keep going. So yeah, Prince Valinar. So this is another Prince card. If your deck has been blah blah blah. No, like it's just below average stats, and you're gonna have 4 cost cards. It's just gonna like even like the lifesteal and taunt doesn't make it really worth it. So it's just not great. It's just a 5. Like it's the stats are playable, but it's below average because 4 mana 4/4 is just below average, and it's just a 5. Yeah, 4.5 if you want 4.55. It's just yeah. Dead Man's Hand. Shuffle a copy of your hand into your deck. Yeah, it's terrible. In Arena, like you're paying 2 mana to do nothing essentially. So it's just not an Arena card. So this is I would say it's terrible. I honestly think it's 6. Eternal Servitude. Discover a friendly minion that died this game and summon it. I think this is gonna be good. You don't really take too many token cards on Priest. You can kind of be a little bit greedier, and it should discover. Like you have a pretty good chance to hit something that's got better than like a 4/5, or most likely. It's. I think it will be pretty nuts if you can hit like a 6 drop or better. I would say it's a good card. I'd say it's just a 3. I don't think it's a great card because like I don't think people understand how many like crappy cards you actually play, like smaller minions you play, before you get to like the powerhouse cards. But yeah, it's definitely not a bad one. So a 3 for me. Doomed Apprentice. Your opponent's spell costs one more. It's a 3 and a 3/2, and I don't think the upside really justifies it too much. So I'm gonna put this at 4. I think it's a 4. Like cost making their spells cost one more is just kind of cute, but like the stats kind of make it easy to deal with on the board already. So I guess a 4.5. 4.5. I mean it's a 3 and a 3/2. You play them sometimes and it has an upside. So 4.5 is fine. Shadowblade. So this is a rogue card. Your hero is immune this turn. I think this is fine. It's a sharp fork that has an upside. Except your sharp fork didn't come from a 3/2 body. Yeah, I mean weapons are just good in arena, and the fact that you get that free hit for the first one makes it okay. And I don't think it's gonna be that incredible, so I will put this at a 3. I'm actually really stingy about giving things 2s, but I don't think any of the cards are like 2s. I don't think this is that good. Like I honestly think I would take Perdition's Blade over Shadowblade. Like I think Perdition's Blade is a great card, and I don't think this is a great card. Like I think a Perdition's Blade I'd put at 2, and I would take that over Shadowblade for most drafts. Lich Jaina. Frost Lich Jaina. Summon a 3/6 water elemental. Your elementals have lifesteal this game, and it's 9 mana, and you gain the 5 armor too, right? And then this is the hero power. It's deal 1 damage if this kills a minion. Summon a water lily. That's so stupid. It hurts my brain to think about. So summon a 3/6 water elemental. So you're paying 9 mana to put the 3/6, but it also just heals you forever because your elementals have lifesteal. That's nutty, and water lilies are really stupid. And you can just keep making water lilies as you go. So it's very, very slow, but I think it's playable. So I will put it at a. I actually think it's probably like a 3. I don't think it's a 2 because it just is too slow. It really is too slow. I don't think it's that good. I don't know. Maybe we'll just agree to disagree. It's a 3 for me. Howling Commander. Draw a Divine Shield minion from your deck. I think this is great. It's a Paladin card. It's 3 mana 2/2. You're basically paying 1 mana. You'd play like a 2 mana 2/2 sometimes. And the battle cry of drawing a card is pretty nuts. So yeah, I think this is a good card. I think it's a great card. It's a draw card, and you should be drafting. You probably will have quite a few Divine Shield minions in your deck as Paladin. So yeah, I'd say it's great because card draw is just good in general. It kind of like makes your deck easier. Like you kind of know what you're getting, and also there's like that upcoming card, Paladin card, that we'll look at. That's really powerful as well. Venom Strike Trap. So this is a really strong secret. It's probably the best secret that hunters have for arena so far. When one of your minions is attacked, summon a 2/3 poisonous cobra. So this is just good, right? Like you're paying 2 mana for a cobra, that's already good, and it's kind of hard to test. So I would say this is a great card. It's a 2 for me. Like obviously the control is still in your opponent's hands, but summoning the cobra is going to be good, and it will be really annoying to deal with. So yeah, a 2. Ice Walker. Your hero power also freezes the target. I don't think this is great. I think it's annoying, but it's just like the stats are a little bit low. I think it's fine. It's an elemental, and I think the freeze is going to be pretty cute for later in the game if you want to stall. So I'll put this at a 3.5. I don't think it's going to be that crazy, and just because like I think it will just die. Meat Wagon. Summon a minion. It's the death rattle. Summon a minion from your deck with less attack than this minion. Obviously, it's meant to like be buffed, but what? Like no, this is terrible. This is just 5.5. This is probably yeah. It's very close to a 6, but it's technically playable. So it's probably a 6 honestly. Like Jesus. 1/4 is just yeah. Anyway. Necrotic Geist, whenever one of your other minions dies, summon a 2/2 ghoul. It's very slow, and it's basically like nice if you have like a token deck. It's nice if you're like a shaman or a paladin. But if you're not a shaman or a paladin, I feel like this is kind of weak. And the stats make it kind of weak. But I think this is kind of undervalued since you can play it and then trade right away. So I actually think it's going to be honestly, it's kind of like I really do think it's going to be pretty good on Paladin and Shaman, and I don't think it's going to be as powerful on the other classes. I think it's pretty average for most classes, and I think it's going to be like honestly like a 2.5, like between great and good, good and great rather. For Paladin and Shaman, just because like yeah, you're trading and still like refilling your board, which is pretty nuts. Cobalt Scalebane. At the end of your turn, give another random friendly minion +3 attack. This is just a really good card. I think this is like a great card. This is a easy 2 for me. It's a dragon. The stats are good and the effect is good. It's just good. So 2. 3 attack is quite a bit too. So it's an 8/5, right? So Embrace Darkness. So it's a 6 mana priest spell. Choose an enemy minion at the start of your turn. Gain control of it. It's gonna be a little slow in arena since like your opponents can trade on your board and then it'll proc. But I think you can kind of get away with it on priest. So I will put this at a 2. I think it's pretty nuts. I think you'll see a lot of this, and it's slow, but I think you can do that on priest. You're generally behind anyway, so like they can attack with it. You can just like heal your face and wait to take it. Like I don't understand why people think this is a bad card. This is just I feel like it must be good. I think it's a great card, but it's not like corruption at all. You're taking the creature, and a lot of the time, like it's mind control. It's mind control for 6 mana. It doesn't delay 2 turns. It delays 1 turn. Yeah, I mean, if you're off the board, this is really good. I don't think it's that situational. I will okay. Anyway, I'm gonna do like a revisit of my own ratings. I'm gonna say it's a 2. I really think this is a 2. I will bet that it's a good card. I'm gonna put it at 2 and see how I feel about it later on. Stitch Tracker. Battlecry. Discover a copy of a minion in your deck. So this is just I think this is good. I think Discover is just good. You kind of get what you need. Like obviously the stats aren't great for it, but I think 3 mana 2/2 Discover is fine. Like we can kind of compare that stat to Cabal Courier, which is very playable. And yeah, I think it's a 100 card, gives it kind of sustenance, allows you to find a curve play or something. Just very flexible card. So and it's just a copy, so it doesn't even draw from your deck. It just gives you another one. So I think it's good. I think it's a like a 2.5. I think discovers. I think all discovers are good though. Valkyria Soulclaimer, 3 mana 1/4. Whenever this minion survives damage, summon a 2/2 ghoul. I don't think this is great. I think like this into like the weapon, the 4 mana 2/2 AoE weapon thingy, will be kind of cute. But even so, it'll be like a 1/3 and a 2/2. Eh, like how many times will it really survive, right? Like so, I would say it's a 5. I don't think you're gonna get a lot of value for this card, and I would love to be proved wrong. I mean, they didn't come out with that many 4/3s in the set. We see a lot of 3/3s, even some 3/4s. So maybe if the meta just shifts to like that stat line, it'll be a little bit more annoying. But I just feel like it's not great. Sunborn Valkyrie. This is another one of my favorites. I think this is a 1. I think this is just so good. Like maybe a 1.5 since it doesn't deal with stuff right away on the board, but it is very close to being amazing. I think this is actually nuts. It's a 5/8 that lets you trade up generally. Like the stats on its own are good, like are fine, right? Like you sometimes play a 5 and a 5/4 and it's okay. And yeah, just the battle cry is nutty. I would say like 1.5. I think this is gonna be very, very solid in arena. Archbishop Benedictus. Battlecry, shuffle a copy of your opponent's deck into your deck. Terrible. Just horrible. It doesn't like draw or anything, so you're paying 7 mana for 4/6. Gnome Feratu. 2 mana 2/3 Battlecry, remove the top card of your opponent's deck. I think it's just gonna be like troll, but like you're gonna be annoyed when it hits, but it's not that good. Like the effect isn't that good because it just cycles 1 card, right? So it's just like a 3.5. Like the stats make it just it's average stats, so like it has like a little bit of an upside, like the tiniest upside. It's not even like an upside. It's like a 3.5 to 4. Yeah, it's a 2 mana 2/3, so it can't be bad. Runeforge Haunter. So this is a rogue card. During your turn, your weapon doesn't lose durability. I think this is good. Like the 4 mana 5/3 is fine. right? Like I really think the stats make it okay, and you kind of preserve your weapon for a turn, which is really powerful. Generally, like Rogue kind of wants like these kinds of stat lines anyway. Like you generally have such fast cards that you'd rather have more attack than HP, because like 5/3 is like that's why that Druid card, the Fate Spinner, I was a little bit weary of on Druid because you don't really want that stat line on Druid. You'd rather see like a 3/5. But on Rogue, you kind of do want these stats, right? So I would say it's good. I'd say it's just a 3. Phantom Freebooter. It's 4 mana 3/3 pirate. Gain stats equal to your weapons. Yeah, like it's playable when you. It's definitely playable on Rogue. It's kind of hard to draft these cards in Arena because like if you don't get the upside on other classes, it's just really weak. It gets eaten by like crabs, and crabs are really common in Arena since it's 2 mana 2/3. It's like a good 2 drop. But yeah, this with like a Choose Lover, this with a Vine Cleaver, obviously like 4 mana 7/7s, right? That comes to mind. But you do need to like like what do you do? Like coin Choose Lover into this on turn 4? Like I don't know, it's just too cute. I would say it's just 4 on Rogue and 5 on other weapon classes and just 5.5 on everything else. It's just all around like average. Crypt Lord. Taunt. After you summon a minion, gain +1 health. I think this is a pretty cute card. It's just like keeps gaining HP and it's annoying to deal with. It's pretty beefy, and I wonder like how it will play in Arena. If you can just put like any buff on this, it will be pretty nuts. By itself, I think for Arena, the problem is like just taunting isn't really enough, right? Like you need to be able to clean up after you taunt. So that's why I don't really love it. I think it's just I think it's actually below average. I would say it's a 5. And I think it definitely will be annoying in games, but for most games I don't like just having the one attack is gonna be pretty meh. I actually think it's a 5. Yeah, 3 mana 1/6. I don't think I would pay 3 mana for a 1/6. Tomb Lurker. 5 mana 5/3. Battle cry. Add a random death rattle minion that died this game to your hand. Obviously you need to have played a death rattle. So it's a 5/3 like cycle card. I think the stats are a little weak, but I think it's fine because it just gives you more sustenance. So I would just put it at 4. I think 4 is a very fair assessment. Just because if it gets you anything else, it's just like more shit to throw on the board. So yeah, it includes your enemies' death rattles as well. So that's something to definitely look at. And I think for Arena, it'll just be a 4. Righteous Protector. So this is a card I was talking about before. It's Paladin, 1 mana 1/1, Taunt Divine Shield. So it's an Oiatron. What up? In the form of a yeah. This is just a better Argent Squire, way better Argent Squire, and it's pretty nutty. This is like 1.5 or 2. It's just yeah. I think we put it at great. Like this is a strong turn 1. It's strong later in the game. It's just really, really good. Man, I want to yeah 1.5. I'll put it at 1.5. I don't think people understand how annoying Taunt and Divine Shields are, um, especially for that 1 mana cost. So yeah, 1.5. Mindbreaker. Hero powers are disabled. I think this is a very cute card. Like I like this card design a lot. The 2/5 body makes it fine, and the upside is you can like hero power first and then play this and then kind of like screw with your opponent's turn, which is kind of cool. So I think it's a good card. I'm gonna put it at 3 because I think the stats are good and you can really use it to your advantage. Because the stats are average, and then the upside makes it good. Corpse Widow. Your death rattle cards cost 2 less. So it's a 5 mana 4/6, which is already fine. The stats are fine. It's not like a battle cry. It's like an active effect. So you can play this right away, and with like Kindly Grandmother comes to mind, right? So yeah, and it's also a beast. It's a 100 card. Like I think this is a good card. 3, and obviously if you have a lot of death rattles, it's gonna go up in value. But I'm not really sure how many death rattles you can reliably draft and kind of combo with it. So yeah, Devour Mind. Copy 3 cards. So it's Thought Steal for 5, with an extra card. Copy 3 cards in your opponent's deck and add them to your hand. So you can only draft like one of these. Like Cabalist Tome comes to mind. Nourish. It's just like 5 mana draw 3 is something that Hearthstone has done quite often, and yeah, it's a lot of value, but it's slow. It's slow, like ridiculously slow. And if you have a lot of AOE, if you have a lot of recovery, you can draft one. Yeah, I would say that this is a fine card. I think it's just too greedy though. So like it's situational, right? Like it's insane if you can play this and get like good value from it, but I feel like Priest already kind of deals like I feel like Priest already has enough value as a whole, so you don't really need more value. So I would put this at good. Like I think Thought Steal is around good too. You know, like they're cards that like obviously draw cards and give you value, but don't help you get back on the board for the most part. So I think I actually I'm telling you I think it's 4. I think it's average just because of the reasons I said. Obsidian statue, taunt, lifesteal. It's got the stats of the primordial drink. Death rattle, destroy random enemy minion. This is nutty. I think this is really strong. It's got taunt. It heals you, and it has like a really strong death rattle. So you know, it trade like if there's only an A on the board and it trades in, it still kills it. So yeah, this is amazing. I would put this at amazing because it does something right away, and it's just yeah. I think it's a 1. Simulacrum. Simulacrum. Did I say it right? Copy the lowest cost minion in your hand. So it's like a value card. It's a little too slow, I think. Like, you have to kind of play all your other cards, and it's 3 minutes to, like, copy something in your draft. It's just a little bit too situational. So I'm going to put this at 5. I just don't really see this being that nuts. Like, 3 minute draw one card is just not great. Unwilling Sacrifice. Choose a friendly minion, destroy it, and a random enemy minion. This is gonna be really strong. I think this is like a 1 because it's 3 minute. No, maybe this is just a 2. Like it's definitely a win more card, right? And it's gonna be nuts when they have like just one try like when they try to recover with one taunt. But it's definitely at least a 2. And like on Warlock, you generally do have a lot of yeah, it's a little bit worse than a deadly shot, but you are playing Warlock and you have a lot of tokens, so I'd say yeah, it's a 2. Yeah, I mean obviously it's not as good as deadly shot, but once again we're looking at different classes, so I think you do tend to have a lot of like little creatures on Warlock, so I think it's okay. Corpse Razor, Battle Cry, give a friendly minion Death Rattle, resummon this minion. I think this is gonna be really underrated. I feel like a lot of people won't like this card. I like this card a lot. I also like Ancestral Spirit though. So yeah, like this is 3 mana 3/3 that casts Ancestral Spirit. So I think this is a great card. I'm gonna put it at 2. This will be really nuts on like taunt cards, and I think like I will draft this pretty highly. Lillian Voss, 4 mana 4/5, rogue legendary. Replace spells in your hand with random spells from your opponent's class. I love this card. I love evolve. I love this kind of stuff. So I'm happy with it. The stats are good, and the battle cry is cute. So let's put it at good. I think 2.5 is like the most it would be, and yeah, I think it's a 2.5. Especially like if you can get like a razor pedal. I don't know. Maybe I am overrating it because I like it. Glacial Mysteries. Put one of each secret from your deck into the battlefield. Terrible. 5.5. It's 8 mana. Like no, you don't really want to draft that many secrets anyway, and you're paying 8 mana to just yeah. It's just probably not worth it. So 5.5. Burlock. Battlecry, freeze an enemy. It's a 2 mana 2/2 Murloc for Shaman. This is great. I would say this is a great card. It's a 2. You know, it's like Glacial Shard, but in Murloc form, and it has the freeze, and it's just this is a 2. I think the freeze mechanic is uh, really strong. It's like a tempo play, it's a curve play. It's just good. Valir the Hollow gains stealth until the next turn, and the hero power is here. This is the hero power. Each time you play a card, transform this into a copy of it, and you get one of these every turn. So, yeah, it's just really nuts. And you also are immune that turn that you play it, which is the more important part of it, because one problem with playing Rogue is taking too much face damage. So even though it's a little slow, you know, it's gonna be pretty nuts that you just get infinite copies of your cards. Oh, and you gain 5 armor as well. So I think it's a great card. It's not gonna instantly win you the game depending on what you're copying, right? But I think it will definitely be strong, definitely playable, and yeah, I think it'll be great. Oh, this is the Druid card. 10 mana, Deal 5 damage, draw 5 cards, gain 5 armor, summon a 5/5 ghoul. This is gonna be absurd. This is amazing. It's everything. It's everything. It's literally everything. Heal, deal 5. It's Firelands Portal. It's just good. Yeah, this is just. I don't think you can draft more than one. Maybe you can. I don't know. But yeah, this is a one. This does everything. Deals damage, heals, gives you sustenance, puts something on the board. Yes, 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 yes. Desperate Stand. Give a minion death rattle. Return this to life with 1 health. I don't really like this card that much. Like you're paying like an extra mana for like forced redemption almost. You obviously want to do this with like a Divine Shield minion or like a Death Rattle card, but it's kind of too cute in my opinion. And yeah, I think it's actually below average. I put this at 5 because Death Rattles are something that your opponent can deal with. I mean, I guess you could cast it and then trade yourself and force it, but I don't know. I don't really see it working out, dude. I'd say below average. Shadow Ascendant, 2 mana, 2/2 priest card. At the end of your turn, give another random minion +1/+1. This is just a good card. It's a good priest card. Obviously, like +1/+1 is great because priests can heal their minions. So doing this with the taunt is going to be nuts. It's a curve play. It's just everything you kind of want. I would put this at a solid 2. 2 mana, 2/2 score 2 exactly. Treachery. Choose a friendly minion and give it to your opponent. I don't think this is good. Like, what do you want to give him? Doomsayer? Like, no, no. This is so bad for Arena. Like, you can give them your bomb squad, but is that even good? Like, you know what I mean? It's just, well, no. For Arena, this is terrible. I would say this is a 6. Skulking Geist, 6 mana, 4/6. Battle cry, destroy all 1-cost spells in both hands and decks. Terrible. Like, it's not terrible because it's still playable, but you're paying 6 mana, 4/6, which is below average. Let's just put it at 5. It's below average, right? It's just 5.5. Like, you don't want this. This is not what you want. Yeah, I'm gonna cry when people destroy my Evolve in Arena, for sure, but still. Ice Fishing. Draw 2 Murlocs from your deck. It's a Shaman card. I mean, if you have, like, there's Burlock, but there's not really enough Murlocs, and there's too many new cards to have, like, consistent draws for this. So if you have 3 or more Murlocs, I think it's good. And if not, then it's unplayable. So this is just I would not draft this until I have at least 2 Murlocs, and I would need to draw like 4 to make it like a great card, right? So the consistency is really like all over the place, and Burlock is the only class one that I can think of. So Acolyte of Agony, a 3 mana 3/3 lifesteal card, so it's 3 mana 3/3 with an upside. It's average. It's 4. Like the upside is just meh, and the stats are meh, so 4. It's just meh. I don't know. Yeah. Roll of Bones. Draw a card. If it has Death Rattle, cast this again. Yeah, this is just not good. Because, it's just not good. It's 2 mana, draw a card, and you're probably not going to hit a Death Rattle. So, like, this is 5. Yeah, I think it's just below average. Drakari Defender. Taunt. Overload 3. It's a 3 mana 2/8. I think this is a really good card. Obviously, it's not going to be strong on curve, but I think late game when mana doesn't matter, this is going to be quite powerful. It's even kind of close to like the 6 mana 3/8, the tree thing. What is it called? I don't remember. But yeah, it's kind of close to that, and it kind of protects your minions, which is really important. It protects your totems. So I think it's actually I'm gonna put it at a 2.5. I think 2 attack is a little weak, but I think overall it's a very solid one. Yeah, Ancient of Blossoms. It's very close to Ancient of Blossoms. And for 3 mana, like it's good tempo, etc., etc. Frozen Clone. After your opponent plays a minion, add 2 copies of it to your hand. So this is like a pretty decent secret. Even if they play something, like it's harder for them to test, right? And even like Big Time Racketeer was something that you could always slam on 6 if they had a secret because it pushed from Polymorph and Mirror Entity. And now if you get 2 of those, it's pretty decent. It's a little slow, but it's like all secrets are kind of like eh. I think it's fine. I think you could draft this and 3 mana draw 2. I think it's 3.5. It's like reasonable. It's definitely reasonable. Shadow Reaper Anduin. Destroy all minions with 5 attack or more And then the hero power is, oh, it won't let me load the things on the screen. I'm just gonna give up on that. Um, the hero power is this void form. Deal 2 damage after you play a card. Refresh this. For 8 mana, it's a little slow. Like you can play this on turn 10, you heal for 5, and then you can void form. But I think it's a little bit too slow. Destroy all minions with 5 or more attack is nice, I guess. It includes your own, so it's like a catch-up card maybe. I don't think it's gonna be that great in arena. I think it's fine. I would put this as a I would put this at a 3. I think it's a little too slow. I'm in a hunter card, play dead, trigger a friendly minion's death rattle. I think it's pretty bad. Like there's not really enough death rattles that are worth it. And it's situational and yeah, I think this is like a 5. I don't think you really want to draft this. Even if you do have death rattles, I don't think you'd want to draft this. Because this is a situational card, right? You have to hold it in your hand, you have to have the death rattle minion on the board, and then you have to proc it, so yeah. Death Speaker, give a friendly minion a minion this turn. This is crazy. This is, I would put this at 1. It's Argent Protector on a stick, and yeah, I mean, it's like, it helps you trade up. Maybe it's not a 1. It's really close to being a 1, though. Oh my god. Because it's not Divine Shield. It's Divine Shield for the turn, right? So it's like immune for 1 turn, but you don't have that immunity for like future turns, whereas Argent Protector is like you keep the Divine Shield. I would say it's like 1.5. Honestly, 1. We can just put it at 1. It's pretty nuts. Like the stats are fine. The effect is nutty, like really really nutty. So yeah, we can put it at 1. It's just good. Fallen Sun Cleric, 2 mana 2/1. Give a friendly minion +1/+1. So it's 3/2 worth of stats. Helps you trade up. Yeah, it's good. This is a, I would say this is a 2, a great card because it will play really strong if you have the turn 1 into this turn 2. That'll be nutty. This is just, I think like give the battle cry is initiative, and that's really powerful in arena. So I think this is a 2 for me because I really do value like trading up. Rot Face. Whenever this minion survives damage, summon a random legendary minion. So 8 mana 4/6. It's just not that great, but if you can proc it on its own, I guess you can instantly win. I think it's a little too situational. I think putting it at 4 is reasonable because I think it can definitely just win you the game, but it will be really hard to pull off right away. So I think I'm gonna put it at 4 for arena because once again, you're not always gonna have a slam, and playing this on turn 10 and slamming it isn't like that insane. So yeah, and sometimes like there's a bunch of like low cost legendaries, especially with like the 4 horsemen being in play now, right? Or like what is it? Is it the 4 horsemen? It's like the 4 princes, the 2 mana 2/2, 3 mana 3/3, 4 mana 4/4. So I think it's just 4. Breath of Sindragosa. Deal 2 damage to a random enemy minion and freeze it. This is really, really good. Um, on Mage, you can kind of already like isolate creatures for the most part with hero power and AoEs and stuff. So this is just like kind of like Flame Cannon comes to mind. And also that freeze component is just like icing on the cake. So I think this is a great card. This is like a 2. Howl Fiend. Whenever this minion takes damage, discard a random card. I don't think this is going to be that good, and obviously you can play it late game when you're out of cards anyway, but it doesn't have taunt or anything. It's just a 3 mana 3/6, and you can't really like play it on 3 and expect to win because like you do need cards at that point. So I would say it's below average. I think it's a 5. I don't think it's absolutely unplayable because when you play it like at the at the end of the game when you're just like tapping and playing whatever you top deck, discarding nothing would be nice, but yeah. Shadow Essence. Summon a 5/5 copy of a random minion in your deck. This is just bad because 6 mana 5/5s are just kind of bad, and you're probably not going to have enough death rattles to really make this work. So yeah, 6 mana 5/5 is pretty meh. So I will put this at a 5.5. I guess it can't be 5.5. Excuse me. Yeah, 4.5. I would say 4.5 or 5. I would just put it at 5. Excuse me. Below average is fine. This is just a 5. Final answer because like 6 mana 5/5, it's still playable. Yeah. Anyway, Bone Drake. Death Rattle. Add a random dragon to your hand. This is insane. I think we'll see a lot of play. Uh, we'll see this in arena quite a bit. This is this is. I'd say it's 1.5 because it can just blow out games. It's insane value. The stats are good. It's a dragon, etc., etc., etc. Again, it's not one because it just doesn't like win you the game on the spot when you play it, but it it doesn't affect the board right away, which is like what you're looking for. But yeah, value wise, it is insane. So 1.5. Web weave. Summon 2/1/2 poisonous spiders. This is pretty crap, I think. Like, if you're behind on the board, the 1/2 poisonous spiders aren't really gonna bring you back, because they generally are gonna have like 2/2s or like low cost creatures or AOE to deal with it. So this is pretty bad. I would say this is like a 5 or 5.5. So yeah. Serenite Chain Gang. Taunt. Summon a copy of this minion. So it's Feral Spirits, but for everyone. And I think it's going to be really powerful. So, like, it's Feral Spirits without Overload. And yeah, this is going to be really strong. Obviously, if you have buff cards like Hand Buffs and Paladin, you can kind of make it work. So yeah, I would say this is a great card. It's a 2. Happy Ghoul. Cost 0 if your hero is killed this turn. So obviously better on Priest. It's a 2-mana 3/3 on Priest for later turns. Like for most cases, it's hard to pull off, but it's a 3-mana 3/3 with an upside, with a pretty big upside too. So I'll put it at 3, at good. Despicable Dreadlord. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. This is insane. It's a 5-mana 4/5, and yeah, it has that AOE component to it. So and it's a demon, so it has all these like upsides. I would put this at a 2. I would say it's a great card. Forge of Souls. Draw 2 weapons from your deck. Yeah, this is not great. Like, I think it's okay. Like 2-mana draw is fine. 2-mana draw 2 is shit. Now that I think about it, it's pretty good. 2-mana draw 2 cards is pretty good, and it takes your weapons. Actually, it's good. Holy crap! I thought it was bad, and then I thought about it some more. Like, you pay like Arcane Intellect is good, right? And you really should have at least 2 weapons on Warrior. Obviously, it's bad if you run out of weapons, but if you have like 3 or 4 weapons, I think it'll be quite good. I'd say this is actually a good card. Like, I would say it's a 2.5. I think it's actually close to great. Like, it's not even 3 mana to draw 2, it's 2 mana to draw 2. So, yeah, and it gives you that consistency, and you really do need weapons in Arena, so yeah, I think it's actually good. 2.5. Snow Fury Giant costs 1 less for each mana crystal you've overloaded this game. I mean, obviously this depends on your deck, so I would say this is such a hard card to rate because it depends on how much overload you have, but generally I don't think you're gonna have more than like 5 or 6 overload, and you have to play them all before you play this card to make it worth it. So I'd say it's like a 5 because like you don't yeah, it really just depends on your deck. I can't really rate this because it will vary depending on your draft. Rattling Rascal. Battle Cry. Summon a 5/5 skeleton. Death Rattle. Summon 1 for your opponent. Whew! So it's a tempo card. It's a 4-mana 2/2/5/5, and then when it dies, it summons a 5/5 on their side. But it's a 4-mana 2/2/5/5 straight away. And the important part is like it's like slightly better than like Silverhand Knight for tempo right away. Yeah, it's gonna be a great evolve card, or it's gonna be a terrible card that you evolve into. But yeah, I think tempo wise is actually pretty good. But overall, yeah, I think it's actually gonna be I think it's actually gonna be average. Like I think it's gonna be very very hard to use effectively. Scorch Lord Garrosh. 8 mana, equip a 4/3 Shadowmourne that also damages adjacent minions. So yeah, and the hero power is deal 1 damage to all minions, which the hero power is really really nuts, and the weapon is really really nuts. So it's an 8 mana, heal 5, and gives you like like a mini AOE every turn for 3 turns, as well as your hero power. Well, it's really nuts. I think this is an amazing card. I will put this at I actually think it's a 1. I think it's a 1. It's actually just like it will win you the game. Drakari Enchanter, your end of a turn effects trigger twice. There's not really enough of these to really help, I guess. Heelstream Totem comes to mind. Like, I'm not really sure what you're trying to do with this card, so this is pretty bad. I would say this is a 5. Doomerang! It's a rogue card. Yeah, this is a rogue card. Throw your weapon at a minion, it deals its damage, then returns to your hand. So the weapon returns to your hand, right? So, I think this is a fine card because you get to just re-equip the weapon, and you get to re-equip it like with all of its what is it? Durability. All of its durability. So I would say that this is pretty good, and like 1 mana, even like deal 2 is pretty decent. So I think it's a great card. I will put this at a 2. Okay, Night Howler. 4 mana 3/4. It's a neutral common. Whenever this minion takes damage to gain 2 attack, I think this is pretty decent. I don't think it's unplayable, and yeah, I think I would put this at a like 4 mana 3/4 is not terrible. Becoming a 5/3, it's kind of like perma enrage. So yeah, I would say that this is probably like a 3.5. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that good, and definitely has like more of an upside on like mage. Yeah, I think it can be definitely played. Skelemancer, if it's okay, the death rattle is if it's your opponent's turn, summon an 8/8 skeleton. That's pretty nuts that it's like it's really nice for AoE protection. I think this card is really cute for that effect. It's definitely a slower card, but it's 10/10 worth of stats and it has to be dealt with by them. So I think this is actually a really strong card. I'm going to put this at great. And the reason it's not amazing is because it's still a 5 mana 2/2 and they don't have to kill it. But it is AoE protection, and yeah, I think it's a 5 and a 10/10, right? Like, and it attacks. So yeah, I think it'll be quite good. This with that like the 7 mana 5/5 give minion +4/+4 and taunt will be really nuts. And yeah, if you can just force your opponent to trade into it, it will be cry. Wicked Skeleton, Battlecry, gain +1/+1 for each minion that died this turn. So on average, like if you trade, 1 for 1, it could be like a 3/3 on your turn. I think it's a little bit too situational. Obviously, you can do this with an AoE, it'll be nuts, or if you get a lot of like trades, it could be nuts, but that's all too situational. I'll put this at 5. I think it's below average because it's just too situational. Lifesteal 1/1 Murloc. Oh, this is pretty bad. It's yeah, 1 mana 1/1s are just not great unless they have Divine Shield and Taunt on them. So yeah, I will put this at 5.5 because it's you don't want to play this. You don't want this in your draft. Wretched Tiller. Whenever this minion attacks, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. Yeah, this is literally Fire Imp in Elder Scrolls Legends. But yeah, this is I don't think it's very good. I think it's also a 5.5. I don't think the upside is worth it. And yeah. Spectral Pillager, Rogue, 6 mana 5/5, combo, deal damage equal to the number of other cards you've played this turn. Um, Pretty bad in Arena because it's really hard to use. Like even if you play 3 cards beforehand, dealing 3 damage isn't like crazy for the 5/5 body. And once again, it's pretty hard to use in Arena. So like I guess you could use that with like one other card and have it be like a ping, and that's actually okay. Like when you play like a 2 drop and then a Spectral Pillager, and then it deals 1 damage, and it's a 5/5 body. I think it's fine. Like I think it's 4, but I don't think it's anything spectacular. Teskar Fisherman, give a friendly minion spell damage +1. Yeah, this is just a good card because it has an upside. It's a 2/3 with an upside, right? So, yay. You can play this on curve, on 2, and you can play this with the upside. Like, spell power is nice for some, so yeah, can't be bad. Hild near Frost Rider. Battlecry, freeze your other minions. I think this is actually going to be a good card. I think a lot of people will disagree with me, but I think this is going to be strong. Like 3 mana 4/4 is strong, and you can play this before you play other creatures, and it's something that will really fight for the board, like on curve. I actually want to put it at 2. I'm gonna put this at 2. It's a 3 mana 4/4. Remember how insane the ogre was, right? Like 3 mana 4/4s are just good. So I'm gonna change my mind. I'm putting it at 2. I will draft this very very highly, and yeah, I just think the stats speak for itself. Grim Necromancer, Battlecry, summon 2/1/1 skeletons. So it's 2/4, 3/5, 4/6. Yeah, the tokens are a little weird, but if you can gain any value from it, I think it'll be good. I think flooding works in a lot of different decks, right? Shaman, paladins. So yeah, I think this is a fine card. I think it's probably actually like pretty good. I think this is a good card because you kind of do want the stats to be split up that way, and it's even better than Dragonling Mechanic because it has like 3 minions instead of one. Sorry, it's 3 minions instead of two. So the 2/4 body is pretty relevant too. I'd say it's just a solid 3. Arrogant Crusader, Death Rattle. If it's your opponent's turn, summon a 2/2 ghoul. So it's like essentially a 7/4 that fights for the board. I don't think it's that great because it's the 5/2 just dies straight away, and then like the 2/2 is kind of weak too. So it's not really a 7/4. It is 7/4 worth of stats, but you really have to be winning on the board for it to be worth it. So in my opinion, this is like below average. I would say this is a 5. 4.5. 4.5 is fine because I think 2 HP is just not enough. I don't think it will be very strong. I think yeah, it's kind of close to Piloted Shredder, right? But having 2 HP is really different than 3 HP. I think the difference between 2 and 3 is actually really huge. So that's why I think it's a lot weaker. Death Axe Punisher. Battle card. Give a random lifesteal minion in your hand +2/+2. I don't think there's enough lifesteal minions that you want to draft highly enough to make this that incredible. So it's not. I don't think you'll get the value. So because of that, I think it's just below average. I think if you do have lifesteal minions in your deck, you can maybe make it like a 4, 3. Like it's good if you get the value, but very unlikely. So I'd say like 5. Grave Shambler. Whenever your weapon is destroyed, gain +1/+1, and it's an elemental. This is really nuts on on rogue, right? Because you're almost always gonna have a weapon, and you can actually like keep destroying it on rogue because it's like whenever your weapon is destroyed, not just like a one-time effect. So it's really good on rogue, and it's all right on other classes like on warrior and paladin. I think it's like fine, but on rogue it will be great. On rogue I think it's a 2, and on everything else I think it's a 4. Bone Baron. It's a 5-minute 5/5. Death Rattle. Add 2/1/1 skeletons to your hand. Yeah, this is just good. It gives you combo cards. It's a 5-minute 5/5. It's good. It's just decent. So yeah, 3, solid. 4 mana 2/1 hunter card. It's a hunter beast. Death Rattle. Deal 2 damage to all enemy minions. It's only hits enemy minions, so it doesn't explode on your side. But it's still a little bit slow. I think you can still play this, and I think it'll still be playable because it's still AoE, and it does have to be dealt with, right? So, and if it doesn't, then you can trade up into it. I like it because it's only it's only enemy minions. I think it'll be playable. I would put this at I want to say like 3, because you can honestly just yeah. I think it's fine. Like AoE is still AoE. Virgul. It's a 3-minute 3/1 death rattle. If it's your opponent's turn, summon a 2/2 ghoul. So this is kind of like Eggnapper, except you don't always get the 2/2 ghoul. And I think Eggnapper is quite good. I think it's a good card. I think it's actually yeah quite solid. So I'll put it at 2.5. I think this will be pretty strong in arena, just because like it's just so annoying to deal with. Furnace Fire. Colossus. 6 mana 6/6. Battle card. Discard all weapons from your hand and gain their stats. You don't really want to discard your weapons and all in on a minion. I think I almost want to like 6 mana 6/6 is already fine, right? So it's just like 4. I think the upside, like if you really want to do it, I mean it can't be bad. It can't be below average. It's a 6 mana 6/6. I think it's fine. So I think it's probably like Fiery War Axe would make it a 9/8. I think that this one is probably just a 4. I think just probably a 4 is fine. Like, you don't really want to lose your weapons. Toxic Arrow. Deal 2 damage to a minion. If it survives, give it poisonous. So it's something you can use on your own creature to trade up if you need to. And it's also something you can just deal to and, like, to an enemy creature because it doesn't specify enemy or not. So I think it's very flexible and pretty decent. Like 2 mana deal 2 to something. It's like Arcane Shot with, I guess Arcane Shot can go face, but like, it's kind of similar to Arcane Shot, but you can also like trade up on your own creature. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's a, I think it's a 3. Keening Banshee. Whenever you play a card, remove the top 3 cards of your deck. For 4 mana, it's kind of hard to justify, right? Like, it's kind of like reverse Fell Reaver, where yeah, except Fell Reaver was a 5 mana 8/8, and this is only a 4 mana 5/5. So I don't think it's super worth the stats. And yeah, I mean, it's not something that your opponents can like ignore forever, but it's also not as like pressure. Like, there's not as much pressure as Fell Reaver gave it. So I think it's actually below average. Like, I don't think you really want to. I don't think you really want to play this. I'll put this at 5. Death Revenant. Battle cry. Gain +1/+1 for each damaged minion. It's a little bit too situational. Like, obviously you can cool into playing this. Like, oh my gosh, but I think situational cards like this are bad in Arena in general. So I think this is also a 5. Honestly, the downside doesn't matter. Whenever you play a card, remove the top 3 cards of your deck. I think it does matter. Maybe I'm wrong about this one. I think you guys are right. I think I'm wrong on this. I think it's probably going to actually be a good card because, but it's just not super threatening enough. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Yeah, I I think I am wrong. I think it's probably gonna be a 3. Change of mind, change of heart. I think it will be a 3 because just like Fell Reaver, like it can't be ignored forever, right? Like it'd be really annoying if they keep freezing it, but like you have 30 cards in your deck. You're not really gonna play more than like 3 or 4 before this thing dies. Anyway, I'm gonna change it to a 3. Okay, this one I'm keeping at 5 because like once again I think like um, situational cards are just meh, and plus like damage minions are kind of hard to guarantee. Venomancer, 2/5 poisonous. I think the stats are a little bit too weak, and yeah, it has a lot of health, but I think just once again, the stats are a little bit too weak. It'll dominate like 4/6s, 4/7s. So I think it can be very annoying, but it also just loses to a lot of like the 5/3 stat line that we've seen a lot of. I think it's average. I think it is playable, right? But just not insane. I think it's I think average is fine because it's a little bit slow. Spellweaver. Spell damage +2. Yeah, I think this is pretty bad. Um, yeah, you don't really care for spell power that much in Arena. It's hard to get that combo off, and a 6 mana 4/4 isn't great. So I'd say this is a 5. Nash. Give your hero +3 attack this turn and gain 3 armor. It's just bash for Druid, and sure, like bash was good. This should be good. Dealing damage is good. It's not quite bash actually. It's a little bit worse because or is it even better because you can also hero power as well. Um. Anyway, bite was like better and better as I played with it. So I think this is gonna be a fine card. I think just a 3. Dark Conviction. Set a minion's attack and health 3. I think this is good. Like it's just removal, and um, you can use it on your own hero power. So like it's like +2/+2 on your own hero power, right? So yeah, I think this is definitely playable. It's not super situational. So yeah, this is a good card. I would say it's a 2.5 because I don't think it's actually that situational. Tainted Zealot. 2 mana 1/1 Divine Shield spell damage +1. I don't think the spell power is that relevant. It's an Argent Squire for an extra mana, which is pretty meh. So I would say it's like a 4.5. Bloodworm, a 4/4 lifesteal beast. 5 mana 4/4s are just a little bit too weak, and I don't think the lifesteal is enough to justify the stats. Even yeah, it'll be pretty nice when you're behind and you get the board and then you play with lifesteal minion. Like I think lifesteal can definitely like recover gains, but generally like generally like stats speak for themselves. So I would say it's like a 4.5. Acarus Veteran. It's a 1 mana 2/1 to give a friendly minion 1 attack. And this is like a permanent thing. So it's like old abusive. Oh, like kind of like old Dark Iron and abusive, I guess. Um, yeah, this is a good card. This is a great card. It's a 1 mana, like it's a curved play on 1, and it has an upside for later on. So let's just put it at 2. Arphis. Add a random Death Knight card to your hand. It's a beast. Let me pull up the Death. So the Death Knight cards are just like OP cards, kind of like a Sarah. I don't know if you guys can see this. So Frostmourne, summon every minion killed by this weapon, which is nuts. remove the top 5 cards of your deck. Yeah, but yeah. It's just like a bunch of insane crap, right? So yeah, like all of these are just really nuts. And yeah, this will be pretty strong because like everything is just like it's just like add an OP card to your game to your hand. So for that reason, I would put this at a 1.5 because it's still a 4 minute 2/2. Doesn't necessarily go off right away, but if you do get it off like in arena, like the cards that you would get would just like end the game. So 1.5 to 2. I think 1.5 even, right? Like all the cards feel like they would just end the game. Like steal a minion from your opponent's deck and add it to your hand is not going to end the game, but something like Frostmourne would. Death Rattle, summon every minion killed by this weapon. It's a 5/3 weapon. Destroy all minions. Remove the top card from your deck for each minion destroyed. That's still good for 5 mana. I think it's going to be pretty strong. So yeah, 1.5. The Lich King taunt. At the end of your turn, add a random Death Knight card to your hand. So this is just ends the game. This is a 1 because it's an 8 mana 8 taunt, so it does kind of stop the pressure straight away, and it also has that like persisting effect, and it generates cards. So like yeah, this is a 1. This is like pretty insane. This is going to win games. You do not want to see this from your opponent. Blood Reaver Gul'dan. So it's the Warlock Death Knight. Summon all friendly demons that died this game. That's pretty bad for arena in my opinion. For 10 mana, like you would need a lot of taunts to make it worth it. I don't really think like the Drakari Fellhound or whatever is worth it. And the hero power is lifesteal, deal 3 damage. So the hero power is really good. Deal 3 damage and lifesteal is pretty nuts. And I guess you do gain the 5. I think this is a good card actually. I think it obviously depends on how many demons you have, but the hero power kind of makes it nutty. Yeah, I'll put this at a good card, a 3, because it's a 10 mana card. You can't do anything else but play this on the turn that you do it. Thrall Deathsteer. So this is my favorite card of the expansion. Transform your minions into random ones that cost 2 more. It's super evolve. It's not just evolve, it's super evolve. And then the second portion of that is yeah, transform a friendly minion into a random one that costs 1 more. I love this card. I actually think it's only 5 mana, and the double evolve I think will be really nuts. Like I really do think evolve is a strong mechanic. It turns your totems to 3 drops, and I love it. I love it, and I think the hero power will be really powerful as well. You do lose totems though, which is a little sad. But to me, it's a 1. It's probably a 2. It's probably like a 2, but I love it, and I'm excited to play it. It's definitely my favorite card of the set, and I really hope to draft it. I will draft it every time I see this card. Every time. Malfurion the Pestilent. 7 mana. Summon 2 poison spiders or 2 scarabs with taunt, and then your hero power is. Oh, I'm so sick of pulling up these. I'm gonna make Ed do it. Choose 1 plus 3 attack this turn or gain 3 armor. So the hero power is pretty nuts. It'll just end the game. So if you play one of these cards, your hero power will just take over, right? It's just like whether or not you can live with it. And I think for 7 mana, gain 5. I think you can. Like, you can gain 2 1/5 taunts, or you can gain 2 1/2 spiders, depending on the board state. Oops, which I think will be enough pressure. So I think this is actually a 2, just because like the hero power is so good. Uther of the Ebon Blade. Battlecry, equip a 5/3 lifesteal weapon, and then the hero power is like summon a 2/2 horseman, and if you get like 4 horsemen, you auto win the game. But yeah, the Battlecry is pretty nuts. Like gaining the 5/3 lifesteal weapon is crazy. It's Ashbringer with lifesteal. So yeah, this is a 1.5. I would say it's almost close to like perfect, but it won't like AoE the board. But yeah, you just swing phase, and yeah, lifesteal heals you. Lifesteal heals you. So lifesteal is like you heal for the amount of damage you deal. Yeah, the hero power is summon a 2/2 horseman, and once you get all 4, you just win the game. Blackguard, 6 mana 3/9. Whenever your hero is healed, deal that much damage to a random enemy minion. With the amount of lifesteal cards, it'll be really interesting to see how this works, or how this does. But yeah, a 6 mana 3/9 is playable. It seems weird, but I think it is definitely playable, and it has that upside. So I'm gonna put this at like a 3, because 3/9 is actually decent stats, right? Like when you think about like Ancient Blossoms. It's a 3/8, and yes, it's a taunt, but yeah. I'd say this is a good card. Like the upside kind of makes it pretty interesting. Druid of the Swarm. 2 mana 1/2, transform into a 1/2 with poisonous or 1/5 with taunt. I mean, it's just good, right? Like, yeah, it's flexible, which is what you want, and 1/5 for 2 or the 1/2 with poison are both pretty decent. So yeah, this is a great card. It's a 2, easy 2. Strong Shell Scavenger. Battle card. Give your top minions +2/+2. I think this will be pretty good. I think there's a lot of taunts in Druid. I mean, as we've seen, like they have a lot of 1/5s. Like you can make a lot of 1/5s on Druid. They've come out with like 3 or 4 different cards that create them. And a 1/5 into a 3/7 is going to be pretty nutty. So if you can get the combo off with those scarabs, I think this is actually going to be a really, really powerful card. Even if it only buffs 1, it's 4 mana 4/5. Like I think this is actually a very strong card. I think this is going to be a great card, and I know that like a lot of people don't like this card, but I think it's going to be great. I'm pretty excited to play it. I'm gonna put it at 2. I don't think it's as situational as people think, just because like the taunts that you get are so buff. So I'm putting it at a 2. Avalanche. Freeze a minion and deal 3 damage to adjacent ones. Yeah, it's a shaman card, and it will freeze the middle one and then deal damage to the side one. So it's like kind of like reverse meteor. Like all you get to do is freeze the middle one. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's like almost like multi-shot. I think this will be really, really powerful in arena. So yeah, I'm gonna put this at great. I think it's a 2. Drain Soul, lifesteal, deal 2 damage to a minion. Yeah, it's 2 mana, drain life, literally. So, yeah, it's drain life for 2 mana. Woo! So, let's put this at deal 2, gain 2. Yeah, it's 2.5. Like you generally want to deal 3 for 2, so it's a little bit worse than that. It does heal you a little bit. 2.5. Oh, we're done. Oh my god.